Feedback is important. Feedback is also hard. Humans generally don't wake up and say, "Man, I want to suck today." So, you'd think we'd have an easy time telling others what they need to do better or hearing what we need to do better. But for some reason, it isn't that simple. First, let's talk about why that is, and then more importantly, what we can do about it. In Gary John Bishop's book, Unfuck Yourself, he talks about how the biggest source of dissatisfaction in life is having expectations and then not having them met. Especially expectations that we weren't even aware that we had. The Dalai Lama said, having too much expectation about the future can bring us stress and anxiety. So, I think by default, we all have an expectation of how we're doing. In some sense, you could be your own worst critic, but you also know every time that you struggled and overcame, or every time that you had a reason which rationalizes you falling short of some standard, either from yourself, from the people around you, or from your organization. This means that when someone offers you feedback, more so feedback that speaks negatively of your performance, the defensive reaction comes from your mind not wanting your default perception of reality being challenged. This is also what happens to other people when they hear your feedback, no matter how well intended it is. So, what can we do about it? That depends on whether you're giving or receiving the feedback. When you receive, go into listen mode. Do not make comments, do not justify or disagree. Find a way to make your ego shut up. You can ask clarifying questions, but they have to be sincere questions, not questions that degrade or devalue what the other person is saying. If you have something to write with, take notes. Then, sleep on it. Get some exercise. Eat a meal. And when you have no or very little emotions about it anymore, whether that's 2 days later or a week later, review that feedback. Take complete ownership of everything this person thinks. They think it for a reason, whether or not the exact ways they verbalize their opinions make sense to you or not. Strive to take them seriously and see what you can do to improve based on their critiques, or what you could change to better that perception in the event you are abundantly certain that their feedback was not accurate. Change is hard, so start with whatever requires the least deviation from normal or something that has a tangible output to it. For example, one of my supervisors said that my presentations seemed disorganized. When I asked for how and why or what she would recommend, she didn't really give a good answer. So, I asked someone else in the company who she had praised previously for their advice and a copy of their last presentation's notes. Based on those notes, I drafted my next presentation for this particular leader, and then at the end, when she was done asking questions, I said, "Ma'am, was that better organized?" She smiled, only just now remembering our feedback session. Yes, this was much easier to understand and a lot shorter. Including questions, this meeting actually ran longer, and to my own perception, it was only a little bit more organized. But it was, in fact, more organized. And since I asked her about the feedback after doing something quantifiable, a presentation that was going to happen anyway, she remembered that I improved based on her critique. So, not only am I a bit better organized in presentations now, but in particular, I have built a relationship with this higher leader in the organization, and as such, she is much more likely to listen to me in the future, granting my team our way in money, manpower, and policy making. That's receiving feedback, which is probably easier to improve on than giving feedback. Even if someone tells you they want feedback, they probably don't. Or they only think they do. they'll still have that natural defense kick in from you breaking their sense of reality. The key is not to be a jerk, but don't lie to them either. I might withhold some of my negative feedback deliberately so that whatever I'm giving them is an amount that they can handle and take action on. I might also intentionally include positive things that I want them to keep doing or capitalize on more. And I'll also probably pick my words so that I make sure that this person is as receptive to the feedback as imaginable. But I am not going to lie to them. It is also useful to give someone a tangible output to practice or demonstrate using the feedback. An example that comes to mind is something like, every fifth sales call, deliberately use this tactic and record the result to see if that helps your conversion rate. If it does, then that can be one of your default sales tactics, and you can stop recording it. Then we'll be able to see the same number of leads approached, but theoretically, more successful closes. And don't forget to give people sincere, positive feedback too. If you're working closely with someone and you're actually paying attention to your teammates, you'll also have good things to say about them. Some people will bicker about how much love or fear motivates someone, but in either case, the fact of the matter is, that which is rewarded will be repeated, and that which is punished will be prevented. And you can apply this to everyone in your life. But the most important thing to having your feedback well received is to continuously be developing relationships with your teammates. If they believe that anything you say is coming from a well-intended place, with their own best interests at heart, even if they reflexively feel defensive or disagree with your opinion, they will at least strive to take you seriously. Oh, and after you subscribe, we'll talk about the feedback sandwich, as some managers call it. You done? Okay, cool, we'll move on. Don't do that feedback sandwich bullshit. For those who don't know, that's when you deliberately say something good, then something negative, then something good again when giving someone feedback. The idea is that it eases the blow. The catch is, it's so common that it's obvious. They'll know what you just did, and you'll lose all credibility and respect. Don't do it. You only have one life to live. Grow it relentlessly.